Hello.
Hello.
Oh, we're still here. Okay.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the FIMU Alpha League of Legends Championship Series, Week 1. This is called the Asian Recap, but I'm only got one Asian with me. My name is Fling Panda, and with me today are my buddies Jirachi, Rich Matties,
Hello.
uh, Chris Vanicor, or C-Van,
What's up, guys?
and then Adam Hall, Theatrics.
How you doing, everybody?
All right, so week 1 we had lots of crazy action. First off, we are a Rhino playing Slap Nut Magoo. Bleh. Why do they have to have complicated names?
That's a team name right there.
Yeah, that was a 1-1 draw. Following that, the same night, you also had Hidden Valley Gaming versus Gerg 5, which was a 2-0 win for Hidden Valley Gaming. Next up on the list was the El Spanish Torpedoes versus the Boosted Gorilla Monkeys. And Boosted Gorilla Monkeys pulled out the 2-0 victory there. And then to close out the week, we had Big Anime Titties versus Gimme That Ace. Is that Gimme That Ace? Yeah, Gimme That Ace. And that was a 1-1 draw. Very competitive matches there. And then closing out the week, we had Bear Jr. Poops in the Woods versus Rich is Provoked. And that was a resounding 2-0 win for Pooh. Alright, boys. What did you guys think of that?
I mean, this week was great because the two teams with the most ridiculous names played each other. I'll just say that. And then one completely smashed the other.
It's pretty awesome too that the team that pulled out such a convincing win was made up entirely of brand new players to the LCS. It just goes to show you how awesome all the new imports we got in basically are, and all the great stuff we have to look forward to from everybody coming up in the split.
Yeah, no, I think that was especially impressive for me, was to see a lot of these new brothers joining the league and then just putting in such great performances. So that was pretty awesome. So let's take us into that first match. We Are Rhino versus Slapnut Magoos. What stood out to you guys?
I think stood out to me most is like, especially in the first game, it just turned into an all-out kind of like bloodbath pick fest where it was just constantly back and forth, and every few seconds it'd be a one pick or a couple picks, or there'd be a giant team fight that would go back and forth either way of each team. So it was really hard to tell what team was like outperforming the other. It just seemed so close in the first match. And then the second match, as it started, I thought it was going to go the same way at first, but the Ezreal and just the team composition on the side of We Are Rhinos just completely like schooled like the other team, and it just ended super fast at like the 30-minute mark, I believe.
And it can't be understated here that Blackastran lived up to his hype, even though he wanted to be a mid laner so badly this split. Ali knew that he was going to be great in top lane like he was last split, and sure enough, even in the games that they lost, or even in the game that they lost, Blackastran still managed to pull out positive KDA over both matches and play those carry champs the way that he knows how to. So, that's always going to be something to look out for whenever anybody's facing We Are Rhino, is that kind of X factor of Blackastran.
Definitely.
Yeah. My thought on that game was that you had two of the premier top laners with Blackastran and Frontlash going at each other. That
top lane was just, if the game was a bloodbath, that top lane was even more of a bloodbath. Oh my god.
Yeah, I actually want to touch on that very first fight from the very first game. It was like within, I don't know, the first 3-4 minutes of the game, and it's Poppy versus Aurelia in the top lane. If you guys haven't seen the highlight clip on YouTube, go check it out. It's got the very first clip of it is the solo kill from Frontlash.
The very first kill of the split, and it was just a ridiculous outplay.
He flashes for his shield, completely outplays Blackastran. But, I mean, the next game we saw the complete reverse, so it's actually pretty interesting to see.
So that was very well played from both sides. All right, moving on. The next game, Hidden Valley Gaming versus Gerg 5. What stood out there?
I mean, from the perspective of having casted that, it just seemed like Gerg 5 just really couldn't get much going, in all honesty. Like, it was, Account was kind of just going off and doing his thing in top lane. But every lane was actually pretty even, but by the time it got to mid game, in Valley just they were finding fights. They had good rotations, and they just pulled ahead that way.
Yeah, if you look at the stats, between the mid lane, ADC, and support, each one of them had a KDA of around 9 or 10, right? So they just didn't die a whole lot of times, and mostly because I think Frank, DG Mad Hatter, played Zillion in one game, and that did not allow us to delete any carries of any kind. And then we also got poked a lot in the bot lane by Super Hoagie or Allergic to Milk, just taking way too much early damage and not being able to fight effectively and farm effectively.
Yeah, I think it was a very slow like early game spiral in both games. The second one was kind of a little bit more fast because it was across the board, like around the map. It was just a constant stream of leads it was small leads. It wasn't anything major, but it was a lot of small leads, like consistently every few minutes, and that really just like was the way to win the game.
Yeah, Hidden Valley Gaming also had the debut of Akiyut. I think that's how I'm gonna say that. It's Account, whatever. That was a debut for another top tier top laner. And then as well for Gerg 5, we had Dr. Volimundo and Zurok 33 debuting. So a little interesting to see their debuts. We'll see if those two for Gerg 5 can turn it around in the next match. All right, moving on. The Spanish Torpedoes versus the Boosted Gorilla Monkeys. Initial thoughts on this one?
I'll sum it up by I'll just start by summing it up. The Spanish Torpedoes honestly just got outclassed. Like,
well, it goes further than that though. I really think it started with pick ban and it went down from there. I think that the Spanish Torpedoes just tried to rely a little too much on individual picks that may work in solo queue but are not great for fives environments, and that shows entirely when you look at game 2 where they drafted an entirely AD comp with no real tank. And then picked Kayn and decided to go Assassin Kayn, even though they didn't have any type of tank or bruiser to be found. So just things like that show a lot of room to improve, a lot of stuff that they're going to be wanting to watch the bots back for, and definitely change up their strategy coming into their next week to start fresh and have a shot at picking up an even record on the split.
Yeah, it seemed like that game was won or lost in the jungle. And around the jungle and mid lane. Clumsy Chocobo dying 16 times is not going to help your cause. So look for him to bounce back in the next round. What about the Boosted Gorilla Monkeys, though? What impressed you about them?
Let me pull up their stats really fast here.
They all look so strong. Like, not just like Jimmy. Like, I mean, if you want to point out a weak link, you can say Jimmy, but like he didn't get smashed in lane. He was contributing to team fights, and the rest of like Fish Baby Bob died. He died a lot, but like he was still making plays happen. And
well, I actually wanted to say about Jimmy specifically. That was the person I was going to point out for being a surprise to me in a positive way, because Jimmy coming into this was basically like the lowest tier player on their team. He was their last pick, I believe.
He was one of the lowest tier players like on the board.
Yeah,
but he totally outplayed his ranking. Basically, he held his own, and there were points in time there, especially in the second game, where I was noting over and over again he was 1v1ing Julio on Kayn and taking almost no damage and just basically just being a big distraction and split pushing. He just overall showed a huge level of growth from last split to now that I really hope that he can carry into the rest of the split, because that'll be really nice to see him rise up like that.
I wanted to touch for just a quick second on the bot lane, because I think that was just it was insane to watch the early game just evolve into mid game, right into late game. It just like, well, there wasn't even really late game to get to, but it just was so fast and so clean. And Piper only dying one time, like
Yeah.
I don't know if that was necessarily 100% him or also getting just great peel, but he also played very well. He's able to get so much damage out and still stay in the backline, stay safe. And that's just like props to him, props to Alistair and Moody. Well done to both of them. I think that's going to be a strong bot lane, like probably the strongest right now. If not,
yeah.
Pooh or Bear
Yeah,
Jr.
we'll get
Chasing
to
the Woods.
we'll get to Pooh
Oh.
later.
Oh my lord.
But yeah, I'm gonna agree with Chris on that one. The Piper Alistair Moody combo looks to be one of the stronger bot lanes. You just look at Alistair Moody's stats right here: 33 assists. This dude was all over the place making assists, and then
Plus his
17
kill
kills.
participation.
Yeah,
Hold up a second.
both their kill participations are just redonkulous.
74.47% for both of them. They had the exact same kill participation because they both participated in 35, which is the highest on their team. Like,
Yeah.
tied.
That's pretty incredible.
That's dirty. That's all I'm gonna say. That's downright dirty. All right.
Let me look up one more stat before we move on. Sort. Okay, sort range.
Anonymous camel.
Okay. Yeah. Piper and Alistair Moody are tied for fourth in kill participation, so they're up there.
Yeah, as expected. Again, that's just going to be a very strong bot lane going forward. All right, moving on. Our next match was the big anime titties versus Gimme Dad Ace. 1-1 draw. What were you guys' thoughts on that one? That looked competitive in the jungle, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, it's one of the most competitive jungle matchups we're gonna get this split. It was really cool that it happened week 1. They had a really fun draft, the big anime titties. The first game, they really surprised our team with 4 tanks and Zaya on top of it that had the ability to peel for herself. So it just got to the point 30 minutes in where it was almost impossible to take a kill without losing a kill against them. It was just a really smart draft, really well played by them. The Sion, as Dylan said, combo,
Yeah.
where Sion comes running down the lane and Ornn has a ram coming from behind, and you just sandwich people with it, which is disgusting.
That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, it was really awful in practice to play against. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty tilting. But yeah, in the second game, I think our team, it was the same thing. It was a draft. We buckled down and figured out what we wanted to do with the draft to kind of counter the strategies that they were using the first game, and we got better with our pick ban. But yeah, very competitive overall. Both teams look pretty strong in their wins, obvious weaknesses and their losses. So stuff for everybody to watch the VODs back for and pay attention to.
Agreed.
All right. Wrapping up the week, we had Bear Jr. Poops in the Woods versus Riches Provoked. And this one, as the caster...
This match fucking tilted me.
Yeah, this one was a stomp for one team and utter misery for the other one. First part...
Yeah, the game was not fun for me. I'm just fine. Okay.
Yeah, the first game, I think we had a couple questionable pick bans going on for Riches Provoked.
And this is a good time for me to say, so my drafting this week was absolutely horrendous, and I think part of it was getting used to the new system where we have 30 seconds, pretty much hard 30 seconds to do everything compared to last split when we did it in the lobby and we had 60 seconds with some wiggle room.
Yeah.
So you have to make decisions very fast, and I did not do nearly enough prep, and it was brutal.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things teams are going to have to do a little bit better job of this whole season is getting that prep in beforehand. Because again, that 30-second clock goes away quickly.
If you
do
not
make
prep
snap
the season,
decisions.
If you do not prep the season, you're screwed. That's all I got.
Yeah, thinking about what you just said, though, something that I want to preface this entire stream with for the guys that are watching now and anybody that's going to step in and watch this pod back. This is week 1 power rankings, and just as everybody struggles in week 1 to know what any teams are going to play like, it's all based off of first impressions. So things are going to fluctuate, things are going to change. This is all just based on literally blind picking against teams that you've never seen before and just trying your best to make stuff work. So all this stuff is definitely subject to change. Don't think that just because a ranking is a certain way that we think a certain way of you. It's just based off of stats and how we think that things are going so far.
Yeah. Speaking of blind picking into people you don't know about, what about Pooh? That was an entirely new lineup of brothers with a sub, right? Hillary Clinton, the normal top laner, is a returner. But Joystick, an unknown sub, basically, dropping in, gets a 10.5 KDA. What about that team really impressed you?
Their decisiveness, honestly, the fact that their average game time was sitting just under 30 minutes in both games, and the fact that the second game went shorter than the first one, showing that not only were they able to make good decisions, not give up leads, and close games, but then they were actually able to get stronger from game to game. That is a really, really dangerous factor for a lot of teams to look out for. If you give that team an inch, they're going to take it all the way to the Nexus, and that's something that everybody is going to have to be stressed about. So just really clean gameplay. Really clean gameplay. Obviously, Bear Jr., Nick, is a very strong shot caller. He knows exactly what to have his team doing at any given time, and they all trust him very explicitly. So, they're just going to be one of those teams to watch. Everybody's going to have to be on their A game if they really want to have a chance of taking them down.
Yeah. I think Bear Jr. and that random guy form a pretty lethal bot lane. Random guy only died once in the whole series, so again, kind of like Piper, able to stay safe and just pump out that damage. It's going to be interesting to see going forward if that continues to be a trend or not.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our standings. We have, in a three-way tie for first place, the Boosted Gorilla Monkeys with Hidden Valley Gaming and Bear Jr. Poops and Woods. All on 3 points because they all won their match. In that fourth place, in a tie for fourth, we have a four-way tie. We are Rhino, Slapnut Magoos. Oh my god, that name is going to give me problems. Gimme Dad Ace and Big Anime Titties, all tied at 1 point. And then pulling up the rear of this train, Gerg 5, the Spanish Torpedoes, and Riches Provoked, all at 0. They're going to have to rebound in the next series of games. What stands out in that so far?
I think I want to talk about surprises because I was a bit surprised at some of the performances from teams such as like Big Anime Titties, for example. Not gonna lie, I honestly expected a 2-0 from them, and them not to actually end up going 1-1. I did this based off of individual like matchups and like lineups. I know Adam, you're actually on Give Me That Ace, so you can.
Yeah, something that I wanted to mention though about Big Anime Titties that everybody's going to have to look out for is Kidakaru subbed for them in AD carry, and Kidakaru is a bronze ADC. He did the best he could, but everybody needs to keep in mind that Big Anime Titties bot lane is normally Opie and Gert, who are not only a gold ADC and support, but they also have an entire split of experience under their belt already as a bot lane. So it's very, very possible that that Big Anime Titties was not nearly at full capacity in those games, and they still managed to take a win. So just something to look out for coming into the split, that when their main roster is fully functioning, that they may in fact be a lot stronger than they were in that game.
Very true.
Just interesting.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to going forward. That 7 Shades of Greg redo in the bot lane. Yeah, I think Slapnut McGee's and We Are Rhino, that was a pretty competitive game. Look to see both of those teams. It'll be interesting to see how they do going forward, because there were both strengths and weaknesses that I saw for each team that, who knows how that's going to play out over a whole split. So they may stay middle of the pack. I don't know if they're going to break that higher level. I think Boosted Gorilla Monkeys and Pooh are early season favorites right now, just kind of off of that first eye test. All right. So, now that we have concluded our standings, we will be moving on to the power rankings. And so this is a list of those players or
we do players
teams.
first or teams first?
We're gonna start with teams.
Or do we want to do OP5 first?
No, we're gonna.
I want to save OP5 for the end. Just
Yeah,
so
OP5 is a close thing.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned for that OP5 coming up next. No. So now we're going to go into our power rankings. First, we're going to start with the teams, and then this is kind of just a preface, as Adam said earlier. These are our initial impressions. By no means are we trying to put somebody down. These are just kind of the first thoughts and ideas we've taken away from these first few games, so they can very much change as we go forward. So
also keep in mind really quickly, power rankings in general in any type of sport take into account various factors such as strength of matchup, how weak the opposing teams were that they faced that week, etc. So some teams are going to be ranked higher even if they dropped games or even if they went 0-2 than others, just because the team that they lost to was such a high power ranking, etc. So things like that are trends that we're going to be extrapolating out over the season. As we get more data points to focus on, they'll get a little more complex and a little more detailed.
yeah, so teams. I'm gonna make this so you can all read it. All right, so team number 1. Who wants to read that one off?
Bear Jr. Poops in the woods.
No surprise there. Bear Jr.
Coming out
poops
week
in the-
1, all new teammates, not even their actual top laner for their team, a top laner that only had not only one day to practice with them, but actually just re-downloaded League after about 4 months of a hiatus from it to come in and
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun fact about
Now
him.
I feel really bad about myself for not like stomping on it. Okay, I'm happy. We'll get into it later, but I'm happy I'm switching to ADC. Spoiler alert.
He is a brother from my chapter, my home chapter, and he's a very, very strong top laner. So everybody look out for him if you need a sub in top lane for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Two.
number 2 coming in. It's those boosted gorilla monkeys.
Ayo. I think there's also no surprise there. We already talked about how both these teams are the two standouts.
Yeah. And then what do we have? Number 3.
Real quick, just to save time, do we want to just run through all of them and then just talk?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
I think that'd be good for
All right.
all of these.
Number 3 is. What is number 3?
HVG. Hidden Valley Gaming.
Yes. All right.
AKA Hidden Valley Branch. Not sure what the actual name is.
I don't
but-
know.
Hidden Valley Ranch it is.
Number 4 is Gimme That Ace. Are you typing all this, or
Yep,
what are you doing?
I'm typing
actually?
them.
Okay.
I decided to make a Word doc that's bigger so the stream can actually see it.
Cool.
Yeah. Yay,
So-
technology.
Number 5.
Big anime titties.
Those big anime titties.
Oh my
Trademark.
Gotta have those. Trademark. I don't know how to make a little trademark sign. Sorry,
Number 6.
Dylan. Number 6.
We are Rhino.
We are rhinos.
Well, a rhino. We are a rhino. They're a singular rhino.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like passive aggressive red pandas.
Red panda.
No, pandas. I do not care.
Damn.
Number 7. Gurk 5.
Gerg 5. Woohoo. 8. Slapnut Magoos. Ha, I got it right this time. Alright, Team 9.
Rich is provoked.
So provoked.
Just like I am provoked by our ranking.
And then, last but not least, we have El Spanish Torpedoes. And again, these rankings may change, so... Wow, what is
Okay.
going on here?
We will be updating these every other week. And especially week 1 to week 3, we're probably going to see some massive changes. So please don't hate us too much.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Alright, so
If
moving
anybody
on.
has a problem, I promise I watch more sports than you. I know how to do power rankings.
I don't know about that. I would challenge that.
All
Yo,
right.
just like Miami football, baby. We're number 2.
Yeah,
boy.
I'm an Eagles fan, so you guys can relax.
Eagles suck. Alright, moving into the top lane now. We have our number 1 top laner. Or we're gonna go back and talk about those teams.
Let's talk about the teams really fast before we highlight individual
All
players. because that'll give more insight into the players in general. Just a quick breakdown. Obviously, the top 3 teams, especially in week 1, we're going to give to the teams that got 2-0s. They showed a lot of strength, but the order that they're in is pretty much a direct relation to the teams that they faced, the teams that they went up against and beat. The reason that Bear Jr. Poops in the Woods is so high and the Spanish Torpedoes are at the bottom of the list, contrary to what I just said, is because of the speed at which they closed out their games. The decisiveness, the fact that they never gave up a play. There was never a moment during any of those games that we thought, oh, wow, they might actually lose their lead here. Like, that just never was an issue.
Yeah,
so
no.
that's the reason that they're up there at number 1. But the other 2 teams are obviously very strong. Anytime that they face off against Bear Jr., I'm sure that they're going to have a really good match. The reason that Gimme That Ace and Big Anime Titties are competing there at the middle of the pack is because the match was so competitive and contested. In other games against other teams, those teams might show off a little bit more. We'll see. And bottom of the standings are bottom of the standings because
They
didn't
struggled.
have great games this week. They just
They
didn't.
got pwned,
Yeah, it's okay. To varying degrees.
Yeah, so looking forward to seeing how RIP and Spanish Torpedoes rebound in the next few matches. So season's still young. We're all still learning these runes. I still feel like
Like the phrase in football, any given Sunday, any team can take a game off another team. It just depends on the draft and how everybody plays. So
yeah.
don't get discouraged by how the first week went.
All right. So I think we're gonna move on to that top lane. Our number 1 top laner.
Do you guys want to go count down 10 to 1? Just like list the numbers.
Ooh,
1 through
I like
10.
that actually.
Oh man, keep them waiting,
10 to
boys.
1. Oh yeah. Okay.
Dangle that carrot.
Yeah. You said write out like all the numbers 1 through 10, then we'll work our way up.
9.
Oh yeah.
8. Oh, why is this so hard? 7.
Count downwards.
That's what she said.
Or he. We don't judge.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Thank you, Rich.
We have to be the most PC non-PC stream of all time, right? Like we bounce back and forth.
All right. Number 10, top laner. Hit me with it.
Daspite. Which this
slot is the top lane slot for your team.
Yeah.
That's why we're considering this right now. Even though Daspite hasn't had an opportunity to play top yet, it's just the top laner for
yeah, and we're mostly putting him last because we have not seen him play top ever across either split of LCS, so we have no clue what to expect. So
Not just either split, any split. Like
any split.
He's just not done it. He's always been.
You just kind of like a
Complete unknown quantity, like
you can
complete
kind of,
unknown quantity.
almost keep him off the list in your mind if you want, because he's kind of just like not really like. Yeah, we just don't know yet.
Okay.
Anyway,
So-
number 9.
Okay, and also real quick, position change. Daspite and I, at least for week 2, are swapping. So possibly permanent. We haven't really discussed.
Yeah, I
that
was gonna
much,
touch on
but-
that later.
Oh,
Alright,
yeah, just go, just bang them out because this has been half an hour already.
number 9.
BGM. Jimmy.
Jimmy, 1 Y, and then 1 K. I don't even know why. Jimmy, why? Why?
Now
I mean, why 1K?
I don't know if everybody is going to be doing this or if it's acceptable, but I kind of want to like list maybe our individual rankings after this on like the page or something for everybody to look at as well, because all of us have done individual rankings as well.
True.
And I think if we're going to be
I lost my individual rankings because I've just been updating it.
okay, well, if most of us have been doing our individual rankings, and some of us
Go for
have
it.
stuff different. Like I have Jimmy at number 5 in the middle of the pack this week.
Oh,
Obviously,
cool.
I think he performed
Oh.
well.
Yeah,
Alright.
I think we can post individual. Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody, there will be a bunch of different rankings so you guys can see the averages across the board.
Yeah. Jimmy did hold his own in that boosted Gorilla Monkeys game. So, yeah, I could easily see how that could be higher. Next up, we have... Am I reading this right?
Next up, what is it, number 7? Oh, no, number 8.
This is 8.
This is the El Spanish Torpedoes.
Debrosius, 522.
Debrosius, man.
I don't even know if I spelled that right. 522. Ooh, don't hit that button. Debrosius. And that was a matchup between Debrosius and Jimmy. So.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on only talking about top 3, 2, and 1 of each list?
Yeah, that's fine.
Just kind of gets me faster.
Yep. So hit me with the next one.
Okay.
Dr. Volumundo.
Gurg 5. Yeah.
Not even gonna say teams. Let's just bang these out. Dr. Volumundo. Hillary Clinton. Which, why? Why Austin?
I stopped asking that question a while ago.
Bad X instincts, whatever the fuck
With a
that
Z.
name is. With a Z. And then number 4 is Garfield Juice, and now we can get into the spicy stuff.
Bad in. Why can't you spell things normally?
Why
4.
isn't he on boosted gorilla monkeys? Because he's clearly a boosted gorilla monkey.
I don't have a birth certificate, so you guys can't even see that. Sorry.
All right.
What?
Number 3.
A cout.
HVG's a cout. I don't even know how you spell that, or say that. Just one of those. Lots of vowels. Okay, so why do we have him at number 3?
I can take this. He looked solid. There were some shaky moments in the lane against Dr. Volumundo, but for the most part, he was able to stay in that lane, and he had a huge impact on team fights and the map. And if you actually look, damage stats aren't everything, Chris, but he had one of the highest DPMs for top laners this week, playing a game on Maokai, and one game on a tank, and he played Fiora the second game, but he actually outdamaged. He had more damage the first game on the Maokai, so he's just like, and yes, damage stats aren't everything, but he had such a huge impact on the map the first game and I think him going from tank to carry shows kind of versatility he has, and I think we can expect some really good things from him.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually in that game, so I experienced that from the other side, and he definitely had a lot of pressure onto
playing against a good Maokai is just brutal.
Yeah, it was annoying. Okay, number 2 was Balakstran.
Balakstran, the guy who still doesn't want to play top lane, but he is anyway.
We have him at number 2 because he was, even during the loss, he was able to perform pretty well. And on the game that they actually steamrolled the second time, did he die? A single time? I don't think he did.
I don't think so either.
And he just like super hard carried top lane. Like, it was just ridiculous. So he was definitely up there. The reason I think we have him second, obviously now we all know number 1 is going to be Front Lash. The reason we have him behind Front Lash, I think, is because in general Front Lash is able to control the lane more, and I think he's just a more experienced top laner. In general, he just like knows his way around the lane better, knows like around the like kind of just working with his team from a top lane perspective, and is also able to make those outplays just like Caleb is too. If you guys have any other thoughts, I don't know. That's what I think.
mean, we also pretty much covered Front Lash, so.
Yep.
Cool. Jungle.
All right, moving on to the jungle. Let's see. I should just copy that. 9.
Yeah, just copy
8,
and paste 10 for
7,
4.
6.
Just copy paste.
Nope.
Okay.
Boy. Do you want to just copy paste my list?
No, I got this.
Okay.
All right, we'll read them down.
All right.
So, number 10 was Clumsy Chocobo. Number 9 was Fish Baby Bot. Number 8 was Guy Fieri. Number 7. Oh, is it Xerox 33? Number 6. Menbung, the man himself.
Man
Not the
bun.
man bun.
Man bun. Menbung, man bun. Number 5. Sir Everett's. Number 4. Aruyan.
Our boy Elliot. All right, coming
Very
in
interesting.
at number 3. Blech. We have Labyrinth.
Oh God. That second Lee Sin game, game 2 on Lee Sin, he just stomped all over us. Like he was diving me over and over, and like he got kills pretty much every single time, and it was his. He had so much pressure all over the map, and he just snowballed game 2. And a quick note, like I do want to say about these power rankings, at least for a jungle, the bottom 3 are by no means bad. Like the jungle, I do want to say the jungle pool, the split is insanely like
It's pretty strong.
it's really close. There's a top 2 in Theatrics General Deal, possibly in that order, possibly not. But there's that top 2, and then there's basically a bottom 8. Like everyone besides top 2 is just so close that like when Clumsy Chocobo is at number 10, that says something.
All right, so now number 2. Are we ready for it? It's our boy, the General. I have General Dill. Is that the one you have?
Yeah, and that means Adam is number 1, which he was not the only one who decided this. So blame him anyway, but don't flame him too hard.
Yeah, I actually had no say in this. I wanted Labyrinth to be number 1 overall this week, but that was just
We
me.
disagreed with you.
Yeah, they did disagree with me just based because it's week 1.
Well, not just this week 1. I think the matchup between you and Dylan, while
Yeah, that was the
Labyrinth
other
was
thing. It was-
influential, I mean, you two played probably the hardest jungle matchup that is going to happen this split, and it went even. So you can't put one down without the other, really, because you both just played evenly well. So that's my
So
opinion.
you guys were asking how we made these lists. We put them together. We discussed them beforehand as just the group of 4 of us. We all came up with our own lists and then kind of tried to talk out why we had people ranked at different positions.
I will say
and then
it basically
determine where they should
this
be after
list
that.
basically started from mine because I made one like a few days ago, but it changed massively. Like my original tier list does not resemble this one that much. It was starting from one place. Everyone had their own tier list, and then we just talked and made modifications.
Right. So, and that's another thing is to note. This isn't like some official like this is the tier list like end all be all. We are just 4 humble symphonians who play in the league. Just like sharing our thoughts with you. These are definitely opinions. Obviously, they're not 100% set in stone. So if you guys disagree, that's totally okay.
The following opinions do not represent the newspaper.
All right. Yeah, so I think we're going to move on to our mid laners. I did it again.
Mid lane.
Yo, be humble. Sit down.
What? Just what? Okay. Just go. God.
All right, read down the mid lane list. If you guys want some detailed analysis of like,
Of like
yo, wait, Sean.
what?
If you guys want detailed analysis of like what we're doing, of like how we how we decided these, because we
How we
didn't just like say
analyzed.
our opinions. We kind of like talked about like why we thought this and like how they performed in each game. We discussed like their performances, their stats, their everything. It was a lot of analytics involved. But we're just
Translation. Chris had an opinion and it was wrong.
yeah, basically. We're basically just kind of spewing they're streamlining, I guess, the end goal of what we came up with, or the end result.
All
Alright,
right.
So are we doing mid laners?
Yep. I'm waiting on you guys to be ready.
Okay.
Hit me with
Number
that
10.
third.
Number 10, Bukaki Poro.
Oh, we already did.
I already put those down. I have
Fuck, did you
Bukaki
put- oh,
Poro as
fuck,
10.
Okay, fine. Bukaki Poro, Django Unchained, Baja Blast Silver, Rob, Simply Phenomenal, Violent Sociocat, DG Mad Hatter. Number 3, C-Van.
Man.
Rip
Rip
me,
life.
dude. I don't really want to talk about myself, so y'all can do that.
Why is he number? Who decided on number 3? He should be number 12.
Should be
Yeah.
boosted bonobo.
Boosted Bonobo tier, and that's what we're leaving it at.
Yes, wood tier. No, C-Van, I think, even in a losing game, like his team lost pretty hard, still did a heck of a lot of damage and was probably the one threat to bring his team back into the game, just kind of showing a high degree of skill in that matchup.
Okay.
I don't know if you have any more to say. I don't know.
I really don't.
I just think I personally, I think I played at the same or above level as the opposing mid laner, which was Frank, and even though my team lost. But so I don't know. Anywho, carry on.
All right, number 2. Who do you got?
Hiramar.
A newcomer, somebody to look out for. Hiramar. I think he plays a lot of Anivia. Is that a fair
Yeah.
statement?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, this was
We
a-
don't. I would like to not talk about that in the Nivea game.
Yeah.
This was a very, I think, hard to talk about. Kind of, well, not for me at least. I think it was hard for me too, because I felt that it was just a poor pick ban result. I don't know if he actually, like, obviously he played phenomenally, but I think in the future, once Anivia is perma banned against him, I don't think he'll be performing quite as well. But that's
I don't know, man. I played a lot of games with Hiramar before we did the draft. That guy is the real deal. He really is. I think as the split goes on, we're gonna see more of that. He has his one trick. Like, that is a champion that he loves if he's able to play it. But I've seen him on other stuff as well, because he practiced as though it was gonna get banned against him, and he is definitely just a solid mechanical player.
Yeah. I don't think he's not like a Nivea one trick. It is clearly his main, and it's a cut above everything else. But he's still a very good player, on everything else.
All right.
Number 1 is Gurge Beef 92. Boosted Scripter, Beef 92. He's just a shit player, but he had script, so he's number 1.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's our favorite commissioner, Gerg7.
Yeah, he.
We're totally not putting him first because he's the commissioner and you want his favor. That's not at all it.
He's not Roger Goodell. We're not paying him $50 million.
Well, maybe you're not.
Yeah, so Greg is number 1 because he performs well on a large variety of champions, and he proved that in his games. They were pretty phenomenal one-sided games, and I mean his team did smash pretty hard, so it's kind of hard to tell if it was him personally, but he definitely performed pretty phenomenally, and I think it was a cut above the rest of the mid laners.
Maybe you could say he played simply phenomenally.
Yeah. Right. Also, Gerg7 is towards the top of the list. He was the Season 1 MVP. This is his return. He did not play the last split as a starter, so this is kind of his return to fame, if you will.
And he does not seem like he's missed a step, really.
No. Don't give him things that he's good at. That's all I gotta say.
That's true. Okay.
Alright. We're gonna go to our bot lanes. ADCs.
So 10 through 4, here we go. Number 10, It's a Bison. Number 9, Super Hoagie. Number 8, Digital Love 69. Number 7,
What?
Family Man 96. Number 6, Budgie Ditters. Number 5, That Random Guy You Know. Number 4, You're a Moose.
All right, you guys can talk about them while I get them all in.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, really quickly, I just want to bring up for Gimme That Ace versus Big Anime Titties, we actually did not get the stats in to Rich in time for him to upload on the stat sheet.
But yeah.
But Uramus specifically really shined in that game. He actually managed to have a 15, 4, and 14 KDA.
Oh my god.
Throughout both games. He died no times in game 2 and died 4 times in game 1, even though it was a 40-minute game. And he put up almost 70,000 damage total throughout both games. So definitely taking advantage of that Ezreal pick, but also just showing really clean play, whether it's a win or a loss. So that's why he is so high up in the rankings right now.
Yeah, stop sucking your own ADC's dick.
Hey man, I gotta rep for my own content, you know? Like, come on.
Fuck Ezreal. Word.
Wait, who did you have number 4?
Uramus.
Uramus.
All caps. You're a moose. You are a moose.
You are. Why is people so hard?
Uramus.
Alright, number 3 we had
Opie.
Opie. Anyone want to
Even
talk
though
about
he
Opie?
missed out. Opie is kind of one of those guys we know a lot from last split, and then again he has his 7 Shades of Grey partner Gert in lane with him. So I look to see a lot of synergy out of that, and it's one of the reasons why he's placed ahead of some of these newcomers like Random Guy You Know and Uramus, who this is the first time that they're starters. So they haven't shown that consistency that OP has shown over a whole season. So I think one of the reasons why he's slightly ahead of them, at least this week. If he, again, if he doesn't perform next week, then he's gonna drop. But
Yeah, let me actually go ahead and address why OP is number 3 on the list right now, because John is asking and some people in the chat are wondering about it. This is something that we're going to go into a little further as the list goes forward, and people are going to be upset. This list is based on current rankings, yes, and it's based on how players have done, yes. But there is also a history of this league and this split, and players that have played in it before have stats going for them and different things going on that allow us to look at them from a grander scope. Opie didn't get to play this week, but Opie in general is absolutely heads and tails a stronger laner than what they had in Kitakaru. Kitakaru was not comfortable with Gert the same way that Opie is. They've had 2 seasons of play together, and Dylan's team still managed to put up a crazy fight against us and take a win. And to be fair, the only lane that was really ahead in our first game against them was our bot lane, and that was directly a result of a CS lead. So that same thing might not have happened if it were OP versus our bot lane. It's something to think about. Sometimes you have to rank people based on their actual ability rather than just taking whether or not somebody played.
I like to think I like to think of this as kind of like the LCS, like literally like what if it were the real LCS? Because Bjergsen, like we don't just forget about, like, let's say his last 4 splits just because it's a new split. We've seen him perform.
Let's talk about actual sports for a second. Tom Brady 2 years ago had a 4-game suspension to start the season, and the 5th week that he came off suspension before he had played any games, he was ranked number 1 quarterback in the league before he played anything, because people know that he's Tom Brady. So
Exactly.
you can't just ignore things that have happened in the past just because we're doing rankings.
and also, fuck Tom Brady.
Just want to address one more thing. This is not. The whole thing is not just opinion based. We used actual stats that we have that is posted on the page, for you guys to look at if you want to. We used actual stats from like both last split and this split. We used the VODs. All of us have watched almost all of the VODs. We've seen all of the teams play, and based on what we've seen in like the current stats and the current just the way how we know players play, this is what our rankings are, as we have discussed. That's the group of 4 of us. So there are some opinions involved, but not as much as you guys think there are.
Yeah, there's not any way in any type of competitive sport when you're trying to rank people to let week 1 totally shift all of your rankings. You can't do that. You have to have a bigger sample size. These things might work themselves out as time goes on. Some of you guys might be right, but you definitely can't make snap judgments about things that have shown consistency in the past before we know for sure. So give it time, guys. As the season goes, like I said, we're going to have more stats to pull from. This stuff will all get a little more fleshed out.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's finish out the AD carries.
Number 2.
Jirachi.
Hi. Which leaves Piper is ISIS/Isis at number 1. And this ranking, I mean, yes, I this one I actually did have a say in, and I did put myself number 2, because it's based on like past history. Like first split was okay. Last split, I mean, Chris, you were there. Like,
yep.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about this. So
so like basically, Rich as a top laner, which is what he played in the first week, obviously did not perform ideally. But Rich as an AD carry, I think you have to look back. We have all the VODs posted on our PMA LCS Twitch of last split if you want to check it out and see how he plays and see that our opinions are fact supported. From where we're standing right now, we believe that Rich is the number 2 AD carry in the league, and we think he's going to perform that way next week.
Can I just insert the obligatory pronoun correction?
Oh yeah, my bad. We believe they are going to perform that way next week. And then Piper is number 1 simply because he performed decently well last split, and then in his first match this split, he completely outclassed and performed at like an insane level.
Just from my personal experience against Piper, his laning is just so oppressive. It's ridiculous, and he still performs super well in team fights. I think he's the most well-rounded AD carry this split.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We have our supports.
So supports. So I want to read down the support list.
Okay, number 10, the Torpedo Brooks. Sorry, we love you, but yeah. Number 9, Zorpox. Number 8, Fleeing Panda. Number 7, Summoner 2805. Number 6 is Clap That Ass A55, formerly known as Seaman. Number 5 is definitely not Sal, and number 4 is Gert.
Number 4 was Alistar Moody, I believe.
What? I have down Gert number 4.
Yeah, same.
Okay, I think that's what we arrived at.
You are correct. Yes, you are correct. Gert is number 4.
Chris, I'm right.
Yeah, my list wasn't updated. It was still like loading the last one.
Chris.
What?
Okay, well, spoiler alert. Number 3 is Alistar Moody.
Well, I mean, we were gonna say that anyway.
All right, number 2.
Number 2.
Allergic to milk.
Allergic to milk.
Yeah, this ranking is actually kind of weird, because also same with Hoagies, because they actually role swapped for game 2. Hoagie went support and Sal went ADC, but like Sal performed his Bard game 1 was actually like brutal.
Yeah,
and then when he swapped to ADC, he played Ez and still did quite well, even though it's Ezreal, because fuck Ezreal.
Yeah, I mean, I expect to see Sal and Hoagie swap. I'm pretty sure it's going to be, if they're blue side, Hoagie's going to be picking an ADC. If they're not blue side, Hoagie's going to be picking a support. And then vice versa for Sal. So I kind of think that's how that's going to go for them this whole split. And to be honest, it's going to make them harder to plan for. So all the power to them. All right, and then last but not least, it's our buddy
Bear Jr.
Bear Jr.
I'm gonna choose not to talk about him out of fear of PTSD.
He literally shot in the woods, dude. He shot in the woods all over that fucking team.
I'm gonna talk about Bear Jr. Nick's a great guy. I do it with him sometimes. He has a very clear understanding of shot calling. he has a very, very solid ability to not only not tilt, but help his team to feel confident in their decision making throughout the game. It showed in their matches from the support position for him to be able to almost like Lemon Nation level orchestrate such a clean level of rotations, objective takes, ganks, multiple man ganks, landing all of these key hooks during fights to just take people out of the fight. On and on and on. He just proved that he is such a playmaker in this split, and I think that it's going to be pretty difficult for any of the other supports on the list to unseat him for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, it's going to take a monumental performance, I agree, for somebody to.
But also just don't give him Blitzcrank, guys.
I don't give him anything with a hook. Like, Blitzcrank, Thresh.
Don't give him a support, dude. Just don't.
Like, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to do at all giving him Blitzcrank? Just don't.
Shut up. Just.
All right.
Okay.
OP5. This,
Got their own
yeah.
power rankings. Damn.
The OP5 is our decision of this week's basically top player in each role. It goes similar. I think it goes along with our. It just goes straight up along with our. Very similar to our rankings, except it's very specific about this week's performance. So it's not based off of power rankings. This is what you guys have been looking for like how they performed in this week's games.
Yeah, and some, not so much this week, but in some weeks we are going to give OP5 votes based on also how they perform, like compared to how we expect them. I know, one example, I know 1 week we gave OP5 support to Simplex17 because we didn't expect much from him and he just completely went off. So something like that.
All right.
So for the top lane, I don't know how to pronounce it. Someone.
Account.
I
Yeah, I don't know.
I think in terms of discussion, it's just it's just kind of like he's
reiterating.
was the best of the top laners. I think this week he performed super well, better than I expected. Just super strong in both games.
And it's his off role. He is primary mid lane.
Yeah. Very strong player. All right, moving on. Jungle.
This is Labyrinth 1898 for the week.
Oh my! Again.
Put up the most phenomenal KDA of the week. He showed a great
actually, Piper had a higher KDA this week.
No, on Jungle.
On Jungle, yeah.
He showed great on champions like Echo and Lee Sin, champions that we haven't really seen since This Is Lugo and Hansu playing that Lee Sin. Really bringing it back to that old school jungle play style. Like he says, he really likes the Korean style of jungling. It's going to be something to look forward to in the split to see once he gets some of those champs banned against him, what he pulls out. He's got a really nice champ pool.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised by him going into the jungle because he originally signed up as a support. So I was expecting either some kind of support ADC kind of swap with Bear Jr. also being on that team. I was not expecting him in the jungle, especially since that random guy put jungle down as his main and was drafted as I thought for a jungler.
I also prepped for Labyrinth the ADC and that random guy.
Yeah,
so that threw off everything.
That was a bit of a surprise for me, and man, did it work out. Also, Labyrinth has posted in Twitch chat that he'd like to thank the Academy. All right. Moving on to our mid laners.
Gurg 7.
Yeah, Gurg.
The true hero. He smashed his opponents both games, and I don't think there's much discussion for that.
Yeah. Go away, Greg. You're boosted. ADCs.
This is where we have to bring out Piper is boys.
Piper is ISIS.
The meme lord himself put up a 35 KDA this week.
Goddamn.
17 kills, 1 death, 18 assists. Just really phenomenal KDA based on the week. It's hard to argue that one. So great performance by him.
Yeah.
Hoping he looks forward to trying to repeat.
Yeah, hashtag FirePiper. He reminds you that your memes,
FirePiper, for sure.
Your memes are indeed dreams.
Support.
And then support. No surprise.
Bear Jr. Like, it's PTSD.
Absolutely no surprise.
If you were playing fantasy this week, this is the lineup you would have wanted to have if you wanted to win your week, for sure. Just really great performances by all these guys all around. A lot of guys have stuff to be proud of this week. A lot of guys have stuff to work on, but everybody knows week 1. Now we've all got film on each other, stuff we can look at. So hopefully the next matches, the pick bans will be more strategic. There's going to be more stuff for everybody to look into. And the whole season as a whole is just going to improve as it goes.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to start wrapping this up. Coming up this next week, stuff for you to start looking forward to. We have We Are a Rhino versus those big anime titties. That's coming to you hot this Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern
Tomorrow.
Time. Yeah,
in
tomorrow.
less than 24 hours. We're doing
Ooh.
predictions on this, right?
We could do a prediction. What do you guys think out
Let's
of that?
go.
I think this is anime titties.
As long as if OP is back, I think Big Anime Teddy's takes a 2-0.
I would have to agree. I thought Big Anime Titties was going to take a 2-0 this week, and I have to think against a team that I think is personally weaker than Give Me That Ace. I think they're going to take a 2-0.
I personally think that they're going to go 1-1. I just think that Ali is not one of those types of people that is going to give up even if the first game is a loss. I think that she's going to figure out how to bring a win to the team, especially in a contested matchup. And Ali and Dylan have had a lot of experience playing against each other along with Walakastron, so it's going to be interesting to see how that all goes. But I personally think it's going to be a tie.
Yeah, I think the biggest matchup in that game is going to be in the jungle. Again, it's Dylan, General Dill, versus our boy Guy Fieri, who hopes to take people to Flavortown. But I think Guy Fieri is a bit outmatched in this matchup. So hopefully Guy Fieri has a really good game and is able to keep his team ahead. But I could also see this spiraling out of control really quickly if Guy Fieri gets out-rotated.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with that. It's going to be all about the jungle, and if Dylan can get a lead for his laners, it's going to be over.
We have chat saying big anime titties 2-0.
All right. I mean, everybody's got their predictions.
All right,
start
then.
betting on this if you want. I don't
All right,
care.
Mr.
next
Skin
game.
Bets. All right, next game. We have Gurg 5 taking on Rich is Provoked. Rich, you're going down. I just got to say that. You're going down.
I think it legitimately, like, if I'm looking at this from the outside, I think it goes 1-1.
I think that this match goes 1-1 as well.
Yeah, I think
it goes 1-1 because of the position changes.
I think we're going to improve, maybe not massively, but I think we're going to improve with the position swap.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It's, I mean, obviously I'm playing against Rich, and so is Panda. But I think that it's going to go 1-1. I think the matchups are going to start to even out a bit more. There's going to be advantages in different spots for both teams, and we'll see one team take an advantage in one game and the other one take the advantage in the other. And,
Yeah.
That's about it.
I'm inclined to agree. I think both teams are going to try and rebound from last week's defeats. So I think the most important matchup in this is just literally any lane matchup, not losing. Whichever lane starts to lose is going to give an advantage to the other team. And
No shit, Sherlock.
yeah, thank you for that. But I mean that was something that both teams struggled with in the last match out. Both of them starts falling behind and weren't able to reverse it. And so if one team starts doing that again, we'll see if they can pull it back around. And that comes to you live Tuesday, the 21st at 10:30 Eastern. The next match, which hasn't been scheduled yet.
None of these matches.
Yeah, the rest of these matches haven't been scheduled. So we have the Spanish Torpedoes taking on Hidden Valley Gaming.
HVG 2-0. Yeah.
2-0 to Hidden Valley Gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. It's got to be a 2-0 there. Unless we see some major improvement from both jungle and bot lane from Spanish Torpedoes. I don't know.
Spanish Torpedoes.
I don't know if we're going to see much of a different outcome for them.
Although,
I'd like to see some improvement, though.
To be fair, though, it was a week 1 matchup. Like we said, week 1 is hard to get a gauge on for a lot of teams, and a lot of times underdog teams can take games away because other teams can get a little cocky. So you never know. Everybody's still going to have to play their best game. in order to pull it out. And the Torpedoes could come back with a vengeance. We'll see.
I think there's two really important matchups going on in this one, and that would be the jungle matchup between Julio and Elliot, Clumsy Chocobo and Yurion. Again, it seems like a lot of these games are won or lost in the jungle. Also, that bot lane matchup, I think, is a mismatch for Hidden Valley Gaming. Well, actually, in favor of Hidden Valley Gaming. Hoagie and Sal, I think, are going to have a stronger composition than I think it's Digital Love and the Torpedo himself. So I think those are going to be some important matchups in that game. Alright, moving on. We have Gimme Dad Ace versus Pooh. Another really good matchup, if you ask me.
Oh my god, this is a hard one to predict. Like,
I'm gonna be shitting myself the entire time.
like Pooh looks so good, but like, Gimme That Ace, like, they didn't look bad at all, but like, dude, I have no idea what your team's potential is, Adam.
All I'm gonna say is I've played a lot of games with Nick at this point. I'm not gonna say that I know everything that he can do, but I think that I'll at least.
But you know everything he can do.
I'll at least have a decent pick ban going into that game. That's all I can say.
Is that shade at me?
No. I'm not saying shade at you at all. I'm literally just saying like I know who I think I should ban against their team for sure.
Yeah, I think the important.
And also Labyrinth 1898 is my big in Rio.
Oh really? Huh.
So I know what to ban against him as well.
So Lee Sin.
So yeah, Lee Sin. Yeah, I think an important matchup in that game is going to be in the mid lane.
Coming for you, Eric.
Yeah, mid lane matchup I think for that game is going to be super important. And then, one jungler being able to take advantage of lanes, because Labyrinth showed in the last game that he's pretty good at roaming around and getting those ganks off. Okay, last but not least, we have the Boosted Gorilla Monkeys versus Slap Nut Magoo.
I don't really have a read on Slapnut Magoos yet. I don't know yet how they are really going to turn out as the split goes. I could see them pushing pretty easily for a middle of the pack team, like a playoff spot. But I don't know. It was just that Boosted Gorilla Monkeys played such a clean game. And Greg put out crazy work. That is Greg's team, correct?
Yeah.
No.
I just don't know. I could see it being a 1-1 just because it's week 2. And it's still a little early, but who knows?
I think it's gonna end up 2-0. I think Greg's team is super strong and playing a team that looks kind of decent. I didn't see any like heavy weaknesses, but I also didn't see like a super powered strength in them. I think it's just gonna end up 2-0 with Greg's team taking it.
I think that matchup is going to be very important for Slapnut Magoo's in the top lane with Frontlash. And if Frontlash can get ahead versus, I think it's Jimmy, 1Y, 1K, that's probably going to be the most important matchup. If Jimmy can hold his own versus Frontlash and not let Frontlash get too far ahead, then Frontlash is not going to be able to just dive in and kill Piper or Greg, because that's what he's done in the past, is he's just gotten so big that he just can do whatever he wants and just dive in and delete carries to even out matchups. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing there. But I would agree that it's probably going to be a 2-0 for the Boosted Gorilla Monkeys. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna also say 2-0. That's all I got.
Yeah. So I think that's going to wrap it up for us this week. Stay tuned.
If you're still with us now, thank you for sticking through an hour and 15 minutes of us talking about PMA LCS.
Hey.
This is fun stuff, though, guys. This is the stuff in the previous splits we were missing out on. We didn't really go into as much depth. Rich last split really did a great job with putting up stat sheets, and that was stuff that people could look at and read for themselves. But this is giving us like a better way to really just convey the information to you, kind of have this nice chat back and forth, whether you guys show distaste or not. I appreciate all of it. I think this is just a great way to grow our community and improve the way that all of us are operating just as a league and improve the legitimacy of everything we're doing. So like I said, I'll hop into a Discord channel in the PMA Discord, and if any of you guys want to talk about how this video went, give feedback, talk about what you think should have been different, your own opinions and rankings. We're open to all of it. Like we said, this is a work in progress, so help us out, hook us up, talk with us. We appreciate all the viewership.
Yeah, and
we'll be in the miscellaneous channel. I think that should be where we head.
Cool.
Okay.
awesome
Yeah,
sauce.
This is kind of like the baby of me and Panda because we started doing it last split. And
Hansu.
And Hansu, yeah. Oh, don't forget our favorite trash can.
Who's not playing?
Rip.
Rip.
But
Rip
yeah,
trash cans.
This is kind of our baby, and we really appreciate people watching it. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. So don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. You'll get
We
all
now have a
the
public
info.
Facebook page.
Yeah, public Facebook page. Go like that. You'll see updates on upcoming matches and stuff. So when we go live. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and then we will catch you all later. Peace.
Adios.
Bye.